Hello friends and welcome to TechnoSage. So in this video we will talk about how to create the virtual machine on VMware ESXi server. As you can see my screen, here I have opened my VMware ESX server on the VMware virtual client, or we can say the VMware VSphere client. So on the VMware VSphere client, if you go to the home context and to the inventory, you will be able to see your ESXi server connected. On the server or the host, just right click and you will see new virtual machine option. You can go to this option by clicking Ctrl plus N shortcut key also. Now I will click on new virtual machine. So now the new virtual machine console will open up. There under the configuration, the first option will be configuration. It will ask me whether I want to go with the typical or the custom. So here typical means everything by default, common devices and configuration options. Custom means I can have additional devices, specific configuration options like secure boot, UEFI, etc. I will just go with the typical option here and next. Now here uh, in this window, I need to go with the name. I need to give the name of the virtual machine. So by default, it will come as new virtual machines. I will give some meaningful name, like suppose I want to install Windows on this, and this Windows belongs to suppose TechnoSage. So I will just give a meaningful name to it, to my virtual machine and give next. It will ask me to select the resource pool. So my parent resource pool is my VMware ESXi server itself, and under that I have two sub folders of the parent nodes or the child nodes, sorry, child pools. I'll select the parent pool itself and will give next. So now to my virtual machine, to my host, two storages are actually connected. So storages connection, could you can ask your IT department to connect to storages to your ESXi host. So I have this two storages connected to my host, to my VMware host. So I will select either of the one. So I'm going with the first one and I'll give next. So now it will ask me that what guest operating system. Obviously, if I'm creating a virtual machine, it should have an operating system so that I can work upon it. So suppose I just want to install the Windows, I can select Windows and can select any type of Windows server like Windows 7, Windows Vista, and anything. If I go with Linux, if I want to install Linux, I have to go with the version of that Linux. So right now I'll keep it as Windows here, and let's say I'll install Windows 2016. So I'll go with Windows 2016 here. So you can select anything, that doesn't matter hardly, because it hardly matters because the ISO that we will be putting into it will only be functioning here. So it's just that you are giving information to the virtual machine wizard that what type of operating system you are trying to install on this virtual machine. Just give next, and now it will ask for the network cards. By default it is coming as 1. You can give up to 4. And here the network type also VM network, that means the network it will take from your system, like the network etc. And the private network, that means the network, like suppose you're working in some organization, so you can configure your private network, the network that has been allocated by your company. So I will go with the private network, and adapter type also I'm just going with the default one. And it says that connect to the connected power on. Obviously, uh, like once I'll give the network configuration here, then when I will connect to my virtual machine, automatically my virtual machine will be connected to this network, the network that I will be configuring later, and I will give next. Now here it is showing me that you have been connected to this data store, obviously that I have selected in the storage section, and it is saying that the available space in your data store is 278 GB. Now by default the virtual disk size is coming as 40 GB. I can select like MB, TB, what etc. and I can give this according to my choice up to the available space. So I am just giving as 50 GB. thick and thin provision, I can select anything. So thick means that once I'll create the virtual machine in the data store, this 50 GB physical memory will be allocated to my disk, whether I'll be using it or not. Thin provisioning means that entire 50 GB won't be allocated. Suppose I'm using 30 GB out of the 50. So at the runtime or at the usage time only, that 30 GB will only be allocated and not the 20 GB remaining. That means whole 50 GB won't be allocated at once. So in this way, I can optimize my data store. I can create multiple VMs and can optimize my disk space properly. So I'll go with the thin provision. So thin provision is actually needed here because thick will allocate entire 50 GB and other virtual machines. If like suppose I have a space crunch issue, in that case, other VMs might not, I won't be able to operate other VMs efficiently. So that's the reason I'm using this thin provisioning. I'll go with next, and it is just showing me all the information like the name, host cluster, data store, guest OS, NIC, and then the network type, how much disk space I'm giving. So I'll just click onto this edit virtual machine settings before completion and give continue. So now since I have ticked on to that, it has not created the virtual machine, but is now taken me to the virtual machine property section. Here memory means the RAM. By default it is coming as 4 GB. I can change it according to my necessity. CPU also I can add the CPU like the sockets and the cores, then the video card and etc. The next important thing is the hard disk. I can add the hard disk, I can add multiple hard disks, I can change the size. So if you want to remove anything out from here, just select that and give remove. If you want to add something, just click on add, and here you can select what is that you want to add, like a serial port, CD drive, or hard disk, Ethernet adapter. If you go with the hard disk, give next, create new virtual hard disk, then next, and again the same options. Then store with the virtual machine or specify the data store or the cluster. So these all options are the same what we have actually given in the created like the disk selection option. So I'm not adding any additional disk here. I'm going with the only one disk. Now here in the option tab, if you go to the option section, there are multiple options like general options, VMware tools options. You just directly go to the boot option here. So here you can see like a BIOS and EFI. So these are the boot options. So I'll go with the BIOS here. Let's not go with the EFI. We can talk about in different video here. So now there is an option called power on boot delay. So it is like whenever you're powering on your virtual machine or you're resetting, it will delay the boot. Now delay the boot in the sense it will not directly, like suppose you have a Windows operating system in this VM and you're resetting or powering it on powering the virtual machine on. So it will not directly go to the Windows screen. It will first boot. It will delay the boot actually for some amount of time so that you can do your desirable operation. Now see, there is an option called force BIOS setup. First I will click here. Force BIOS setup in the sense like whenever you boot your virtual machine, it will directly go to the boot option, the BIOS setup screen, not the boot option, BIOS setup screen. And here the boot option I will give as at like 200 milliseconds. Now why I'm giving these two options is, so whenever I will be booting my virtual machine, there will be a boot delay of 200 milliseconds so that I can connect and I can able to perform some action. If there is some action coming, like if there is something option coming, it should not be going with a flash. It should wait at least for 200 milliseconds for my so that I can think and give some option here. And then there is an option called force BIOS setup. It means that whenever it boots, it should not be going to other screens but to the BIOS setup screen, so that I can, like, since this is a new virtual machine, it doesn't have a operating system directly on the boot screen. I can able to attach the ISO and can install the operating system of my choice. So just give finish here, and you can see that the that the Windows machine has been created, like a virtual machine has been created with the name of Windows TechnoSage. Since you can't see anything because it's not in the power on state, and there is no OS at all. So what I will do, I will open the console. To open the console, just right click. There will be an option called Open Console. See, now there is nothing because the virtual machine has been created, but there is no operating system. So you can't say that the virtual machine fully has been created since there is no operating system here. So just power on. So now since you have powered on, what it is doing is it is booting to the BIOS screen. Now you will understand why I have ticked on that option. Now you can connect. See, there is an option here, CD drive, and I can connect the ISO image. Connect to ISO image in the data store. No. So I have the ISO image on the local disk. I will click here under the C. I have kept under C drive ISO and Windows 2016. And see, I have this. I have attached the. See, you can see. I have attached the ISO for Windows 2016 server. Now what I will do, I will click this inside the screen, and with the next tab I will go to the boot option, and in the boot option you can see there is an option called CD or ROM drive. Since I have connected as a CD drive, I will click onto shift and plus, and I will move that up. That means whenever the machine boots up, first of all it should read the CD-ROM drive. And now I will do exit, save existing, enter, and yes. Now you can see it is loading up, loading files. So it is loading all the related files. And you can see the Windows screen now came up. Now I can give English by default. Everything, I'm not changing anything here. I'll give next, install now. So now my setup is starting for this virtual machine, that the Windows setup is starting. It is asking me for the key, but right now I will give I don't have any product key, so I'll click on to I don't have any product key. And now it is asking me what type of edition you want to, operating type you want to have. Either this is the 2016 standard server, desktop experience. Obviously I need to have a desktop experience, so I will go with the second option, desktop experience one. I will give next. This is the notice. I'll accept the terms of license terms, and will hit next. And it is asking me to upgrade, install Windows, and keep. If this is the option, if I already have an operating system and want to upgrade or make some changes, and I'll choose the second one, custom one, because I'm installing freshly. It is saying that you have a disk of 50 GB as what we have attached, right? So okay, I'll go with next. It will just take it as one, and it will create a C drive out of it. Now it has started up copying the Windows files. It will take some considerable amount of time. Obviously this is a Windows installation, it will take some considerable amount of time. I am here not pausing the video since I am covering the whole concept of how we can create the virtual machine. on the VMware virtual client. Sometime what happens is people get confused that if they miss out, if like I skip the video and if they miss out something or the other, uh, it should not be like that. Everything should be covered, even though the video is going too long. That's not the intention. The main intention is that each and everything should be covered right from the scratch. Um, how to create the virtual machine on Hyper-V server we have covered in another video. I will give the link in the description box. You can check it out. How we can create the virtual machine on the Hyper-V server. It's just the same thing, but just the UI and the screens are different. The process is different. Terminologies are different. So you can check that video also. So like this VMware client is like VMware VSphere client is from the company called VMware. Hyper-V is coming from the Windows side. It's a Windows inbuilt tool. Just we need to enable the Hyper-V server manager in the Windows server. How to enable the VMware server, the Hyper-V server manager, that also I have covered in one of the video. You can check the description box for the link also. So right now we are installing the Windows. I am repeating, we are installing the Windows 2016 server in the freshly created virtual machine. Since this Windows installation will take some considerable amount of time, I will skip this video a little bit. Will not miss out any important updates if at all it comes. So we'll meet at the finishing up. Once this installation has been completed, we'll meet that time. I'll skip this video here now. So now you can see the status, copying Windows files, getting files ready, installation features, installation updates, everything is done. So now only the finishing up is left. So once this is done, then the Windows installation will be done on the virtual machine that we have created. So now you can see the Windows is trying to restart the virtual machine here. So it will just restart in 1 second. Yeah. So the virtual machine is now getting restarted. So it is asking to press any key to boot from CD DVD. Now it's not needed. Why it's not needed? Because we have already installed the we have already booted from the DVD. The ISO booted from the DVD, and the Windows have already been installed here in the virtual machine. So it's not needed here now. So now the freshly installed Windows system on the virtual machine is now getting started for the first time. It will take some little amount of time because it's just getting the files ready for us. It's loading up all the files, all the necessary files. So first time the after the Windows installation, the first time when the Windows loads up, boots up, it takes some little amount of time. Next time when you will boot up the Windows or restart the system, it won't take that much amount of time. It says getting ready. It's nearly loaded up. And now it has again restarted the server. and now you can see that it is asking for the password. Since we have installed the Windows, so by default the administrative account will be created, obviously administrator account. So we need to set the password for the administrator. I'll just put any password of my choice for the administrator, and we'll give on to the finish option. And now it is finalizing my settings, and now the virtual machine has been created. You can see the virtual machine. I can open up, see, it says control press alt delete to unlock. So you can't do it inside this virtual machine. For that you need to go to the VM, and there under guest you need to send control alt delete. Now it is trying to log in with the administrator. Give the password that you have already set just now, and now the Windows logged in with the administrative account. Yes, it's doing the all the prerequisite checks and all. Now you can see that the Windows load up. This is the Windows 2016 server, and we can check. I'll open up my computer, my PC. This PC, and we'll give to the properties. And you can see we have given the 4 GB of RAM. Already we have given the 4 GB of RAM. It's a 2016 server. 64 operating system, 64-bit operating system, x64 base processor. So, and as you know that we have given the hard disk as 50 GB, so we can just verify that also here. So sorry, yeah, so we can go to this PC, and you can see that the local disk C is 49.5 or approximately 50 GB, out of which 39.3 is free, and rest all is being occupied by the operating system files. So in this way you can create the virtual machine and can install the operating system of your choice. So in the demonstration I have shown how we can create the virtual machine and can install the Windows 2016 server. You can install Linux of any flavor, Windows of any versions. So you can install whatever preferred operating system that you want to work on, or your company want you to work on. So I hope you like the video. Please do let us know in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, guys.